All right, it is Wednesday, February 5th. And what's kind of funny is whenever I say something like, oh, I've had a lot of energy, or I don't think any personal essays are going to come through, boom, it does. So sometimes just don't listen to what I say because it might not be true. It is interesting. So this is going to be a 2-part. And for the first part, I'm just winging it because this second part, which I'm making my first part, came into me when I was listening to a podcast while I was getting ready. So I didn't have time to write it down. So we'll see how the winging it goes. The second part will be the personal essay that I wrote this morning. But the 2 parts actually go together kind of like puzzle pieces, to be honest. And that is something that I found that the universe often does. It'll give you one part here, another part here, maybe other parts, and then all of a sudden the pieces will come together and you'll have the whole picture. The other thing the universe does, so this is a very good warning, every time you say, I don't think I can, I don't think this will happen, I swear to God, at least in my experience, the universe says, oh, you don't think so, huh? Let me show you can. So be very careful what you say to the universe or out loud, because you might not even know you're saying it to the universe, but the universe is always listening. Okay, so the first part of this, I was listening to someone that I just like to listen to, and he was kind of talking about how he's not a channel. He's not as good of a channel as this person or that person or whatever, but he feels that he can channel things. And in the spiritual or woo-woo community, new age, whatever you want to call it, they do believe we can channel. A channel is just something similar to the old days or now when you change the TV channel, right? You're vibrating at a certain frequency, vibration, and something will come in and through. So you can kind of equate it to listening to music. You hear some music and it comes into your brain, and then maybe it gets kind of stuck and you start singing it. I know sometimes I've watched TV and I've heard TV characters almost like their voice in my brain. There are other times that I don't mean to channel, but I do think I channel, and I believe everybody does. I do believe that. I know, like one time my parents and I were going through the Black Hills, and I was just trying beadwork, and I could almost hear like Native American grandmothers just laughing at me at how crappy it was. There's sometimes when I'm cooking, I almost feel like I'm channeling, one of my grandmothers or something like that. So what this has to do with 2 parts. Number 1, I'm going to share with you a personal essay I wrote called Mosquito Mind. And what's funny is when I was looking for a quote that I really wanted to use in my essay, then all of a sudden, I swear to God, I tapped into some sort of Southern belle. And I could hear this Southern belle's voice in my head. And you're going to see the words that I wrote after the quote really kind of take on a Southern belle kind of a sound. And my voice might even change when I'm reading it. So there's that. I know when I pray in the morning, my voice actually does change into more of an English accent. Don't know why. Just happens. The other thing is that I wrote a couple of days ago about how to get through grief. When you lose an experience, and it doesn't have to be death, although it can be, like you lost someone to death. I've also experienced this, though, with people who are still alive. What you can do, another way to contact your loved one after they have passed, is you can channel. So I've actually experienced this. Sometimes I can just sense my grandmother's around. Maybe you've had that experience too, or someone else who has passed. I've actually had almost like when I was really, really like just feeling all of the words of like a song artist that I really like that has passed, I can almost see in my third eye, like that person and I are like jamming out to their song. And they just really like that somebody's remembering them, their song, and so they pop up. So we're in the physical world, and I do believe the physical world is a mirror, a representation of the spiritual world, or whatever else you want to call it. The difference is, in the spiritual world, things happen like that happen instantaneously. Like as soon as you think about it, it happens. In the physical world, you have to kind of work at getting in tune, and then you have a thought, and then you might have to put a lot of action into it. It just takes a lot more time. Another way that you can channel a loved one is through writing. So there generally tends to be some certain times, 3 to 5 in the morning, the witching hour. You also have to check your own beliefs if you think that that's good for you or not. It's up to you. I've never had anything bad happen myself. In fact, a lot of my writing, I feel I channel. And I do write a lot between 3 and 5 in the morning. So there's times like 3 and 5 in the morning. A lot of times during Halloween, they say the veil is, more thin between our world and the other world. If you're trying to channel someone who's passed, maybe try to pick a day where it's like around their birthday or a special date. And then basically what you do is you do have to kind of get into that really good feeling. I found you can't necessarily, you can. I've heard things come in and try to comfort me when I'm sad too. I just think it's a lot more fun to do it when you're in a better mood. So you go into your memory, you go into your heart, and you try to use as many sensory things as you can: touch, taste, smell, sound. Maybe it's a song you guys used to sing together. Maybe you have some sort of food or something in front of you that you used to eat together, whatever it is. And then what you do is either on your smartphone in the note app, if you like physical paper and pen, that also is really good. Just jot it down. I do it on my laptop. I've done it many different ways. You could ask questions like, are you here? Are you happy? And then you start writing, and you just see what comes through. So that's another way to contact a loved one who's passed, or even just recreate a memory with someone who's still here. And if you actually do that, some things that I've started to experience is synchronicity or spooky action at a distance. You might contact them a little bit later and they said, hey, when you did that, that song actually popped up on my radio. So that's another way that maybe you can contact a loved one who has passed by channeling them, tuning into them. And then what you can do is you can actually ask questions and then start writing it down, and you might be surprised at the answers you get. Now again, I'm kind of careful about sharing that information because again, I've talked about how if you have blocks within your body, if you are angry that they are gone, which is understandable, if you feel guilty or whatever, and that's actually something you could kind of channel. If you try to channel the energy and everything, you could say something like, you could ask questions and then try to get answers back. So I just kind of wanted to throw that out there in case that helps anybody today. And now we're going to move on to part 2, which was going to be part 1 of the message called Mosquito Mind. And this kind of came about from a lot of different things. I've been having so many thoughts within my mind, And I've actually written about this in the past too, so it's nothing really new for me. But the way that it was presented to me kind of came up as a fresh new way. So I thought that I would share it. Because many of you might have mosquito minds going on as well. Maybe you know what they are, maybe you don't. And so here's another tip and strategy of how to deal with a mosquito mind and talk about what it is. All right. I apologize, I do have a cough drop in my mouth. I'm trying to control a cough. Maybe I'll take it out. Okay. So now I'm going to be looking down a lot because I don't want to miss a thing. There is a concept in spiritual communities called the monkey mind. Perhaps because I'm from Minnesota, I like to call it the mosquito mind. What's the mosquito mind, you might ask? Well, it's all these pesky thoughts buzzing in your head all the time. And if you're not careful, some might even land on you and suck the life force right out of you in regard to your time and energy, and leave behind irritations that you can't help but want to scratch, like anxiety or fear. We all have the mosquito mind, but what I've learned is that I put on my metaphorical mosquito netting and I go about my day. Yes, you see them. Yes, they may annoy you, but you don't let them get to you. This is similar to a quote from a book, The Secret Life of Bees by Sue Monk Kidd. I hadn't been out to the hives before, so to start, she gave me a lesson in what she called bee yard etiquette. She reminded me that the world was really one big bee yard, and some rules work fine in both places. Don't be afraid, as no life-loving bee wants to sting you. Still, don't be an idiot. Wear long sleeves and pants. Don't swat. Don't even think about swatting. If you feel angry, whistle. Anger agitates, while whistling melts a bee's temper. Act like you know what you're doing, even if you don't. Above all, send bees love. Every little thing wants to be loved. Now this is where it's back to my own words, and you are going to hear kind of like a southern belle kind of coming through. So just go about your day, whistle while you work, and don't let that old mosquito mind get to you. Just focus on the moment at hand, because I'll tell you what, that old mosquito mind doesn't live in any now moments that I know of. It lives in the past. It fears the future, which, in my experience, no one can truly predict or foresee, because we have free will. Have you ever been around anyone or anything, pets, spouses, friends, children? Well, we all do the darndest of things. And when those times happen, they usually follow with some words like, "What in the world?" or "What were you thinking?" And in many cases, the answer was, "I wasn't." So here's what I want you to do each day before you go out into that big old world full of not just the mosquitoes of your mind, but the mosquitoes of everybody else's mind who wants to pull you in and show them to you just to get you off course and just as distracted as they are. Put on your metaphorical protective gear. Maybe you might even have to do some sort of physical thing to actually make it happen. Like me, I wear my essential oils because I kind of like the idea that I'm anointed. I am holy, which in my mind means I am whole. I am complete, not lacking in nothing. And my sweet scent only attracts sweet things in my life, and it provides a barrier for anything not so sweet. So go on, put on your protective gear, whatever that might be, find a good song that gets stuck in your head, and whistle while you work. Because as Fat Waller sings in his 1938 hits, early to bed, early to rise, makes you healthy, wealthy, and wise. But I found out, I know it's true, a whistle does much more for you. So I love to whistle, 'cause troubles won't come near me, especially when they hear me. Okay, that wasn't very good, but I will put the song link below.